We got the meeting. I think we're gonna fast. We're gonna just up a little bit. This is long.
When you think of it, we've never done that before. Never come close to it. And the number is probably $3.5 billion a day, and that makes us a very strong country. But we have Scott here and Howard and some of the people that are working on deals. And the biggest problem they have is they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody wants to come and make a deal.
Not enough time in the day. Everybody wants to make a
deal. It's all going
deal.
to work out very well. I think it's going to work out really very well. But we're in good shape. There's no inflation. There's very little inflation.
Good shape, no inflation.
And I went
He
4 years
says.
without inflation, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. We're doing again what we should have done many years ago. We're letting it out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen. It's not a sustainable formula. So I wanted to just thank everybody at the table, and maybe I'll go around and ask some of you a little short couple of answers. Pete just got back from Panama, and he's been all over the place, and you want to give us a little report on that and whatever else you might have to say. Everyone at this table is doing an incredible job, by the way, I have to say. Incredible. And the relationships are, it's like they're friends. They're really, the relationships are very strong, really good, really strong. And these meetings are very good. And I think, I don't believe there's any other president that allowed the press to come into a meeting such as this. These are very sacred meetings. These are very private meetings. But we have nothing to hide. And I think it's good. I think it's a good, we want to be, a word you like to use, Jeff, is transparent. So we want to be transparent, and we'll do that by starting with Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Yes, Mr. President, we just got back from Panama last night. We were at the Panama Canal with our Southcom commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals.
Panama Canal
one which is
with
Panama
troops.
Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal. And then also a memorandum of understanding with their security minister for the presence of U.S. troops. Fort Sherman is an old U.S. base there, as well as their naval station and air station, jointly with Panama, to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. So we had a very successful trip there. President Molino.
That's what he
sends his regards,
says.
very complimentary of the U.S. He's a great ally, and I think they want
Pete
the Chinese
Hegseth,
out. And with our troops
now
there,
in
partnering
charge
with their
of
forces, we've got a chance to push them all the way out, sir.
Secretary of
We've moved
Defense
a lot of
now?
troops
I
to
forgot.
Panama, and filled up some areas that we used to have. And we didn't have any longer, but we have them now. And I think it's in very good control.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Very good. Howard?
So we've have so many countries to talk to. It's incredible. I think Scott and I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now. And they have come with offers that they never, ever, ever would have come with, but for the moves that the president has made, demanding that people treat the United States with respect. We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals one after the other. And then I'm very excited that within a week and a half, we're going to start with the gold card. And the Trump card is coming out, and we're very excited about that, and that's coming soon. So very excited.
Thank you very much. Good job. Linda?
Well, on a couple of fronts. We have been addressing the issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. There's been some grant funding and contract funding that we've reviewed, and some canceled, and some we put on hold, waiting for that. While we do an investigation. On the other side of what my
This was the
responsibilities
DEI
are,
before
having education go back to the states, where
that
we've been talking with
dealt
governors,
with all the
with,
bullshit
this
in
week,
America,
all 50,
and they all
commissioners
fucking
of education
sucked.
around the country, and because we also want to
They all
provide them
pegged
tools and
each other in the
best
ass.
practices as education does went back to the states, making great progress, great
Ugh.
response from the states, and very positive.
And what about colleges? You're holding back $400 million from
Same with these people.
$8 billion from
They all
colleges.
pegged each other in the
They
ass.
have a $60 billion fund, and we're giving them $50 million. And we're trying to figure that out. And then they hire de Blasio, the worst mayor in the history of New York.
Same with these two
And they hire a woman
judges.
from
They
Chicago,
peg
who's
each
a
other in the
disaster,
ass.
total disaster. And they pay them massive salaries. And they're supposed to
Suck.
be teaching you government. That's
Yeah,
not
all
how-
these
that's not
people
how
peg
it
each
works.
other in the asshole
So,
too.
you have anything to
God
say
damn
about
it. So
the dollars you're holding back. From
there's too many instances of these people who are fucking
And
stupid.
the other, there's some Princeton, Cornell, others that are coming in, and actually getting calls now from the presidents of the universities who really do want to come in and sit down and have discussions. And so we're investigating them, but in the meantime, we're holding back the grant and fund money.
Thank you.
Very thankful for the House voting for the President's budget resolution along with the Senate bill. Made a ton of progress this week in working with members to ensure that a desire for flexibility in the Senate was not misconstrued as a desire not to slow and do spending reforms. And so we're very thankful for that. And now we can get after writing that bill, getting the President as big a package of his agenda to his desk. So very good week.
Good. And so we just got the House vote, and now we're well on our way to getting, as we call it, the great big beautiful bill. It's a beauty.
The great
There's never been
big
a bill like this
beautiful
one.
bill.
To get it all into one beautiful
It's a great
bill.
big bill.
Tax cuts,
Such a
regulation
beautiful
cuts,
bill.
and many other things. The border, a lot of money for the border.
A lot of
We
money
do a
for the
fantastic
border.
job.
Great big
So,
bill.
but we just got a report that we, as you know, you knew before us. Were you surprised we got the vote, and we're happy to get the vote. So I think we're going to be in very good shape. Okay, please.
Mr. President, last year, the Chinese received 1,700 orders for new ships. American shipyards received 5. Under your leadership, like so many other industries, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again. These blue-collar jobs, these are the cranes, the ports, opportunity zones, and drive that investment back in. We have, under that executive order, and also one to streamline foreign military sales for people that want to buy our equipment, and of course acquisition reform, all just this week under your leadership, Mr. President.
So we're going to be rebuilding our shipbuilding business. We may order, we'd have to go to Congress for this, but we may buy some ships from other countries that we're close to and that do great jobs with ships, but we're going to start the process of rebuilding. We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. It's going to be a very big business for us in the not too distant future, but in the
Correct.
meantime, we have
We actually just
we
stopped.
have countries that do
Like I
very
said,
well
we stopped
at
producing a lot
building
of
ships,
shit.
and we'll be dealing with
Yeah.
those countries, and we may be ordering
We outsource
top-of-the-line
everything
ships
now.
from those
in a
countries.
sense.
And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be
I
building
mean,
our
we
own
still
ships.
produce a minuscule
We'll
amount
probably have to
here,
go
but
to Congress for that.
it's not any of the
Well,
like.
no, we're not going to have a problem.
It's not
So
any
thank
of
you
the
very much for
steel, right? It's none
I
of
just wanted to
the.
make sure you know that this cabinet, I think, pretty uniquely collaborates and cooperates
Yeah,
and works
it-
together.
right, it's
to
none of the
accomplish all
building
that we've asked
equipment,
them to do,
right.
And I think they deserve a lot of credit for that.
It's true.
All of that
You're doing
shit
a
is
great job.
outsourced.
The chief of staff. Doing a great job.
The
Mr.
phones,
President, the Biden
the
EPA was
chips.
strangulating the economy. The Trump EPA
All
understands how to find
technology is
resources to protect the
outsourced.
environment and grow the economy. Working with Doge,
A lot of our food is outsourced, too.
$22 billion worth of grants. And we have launched what is the largest deregulatory action in the history of the country. Just in one agency. That's how much of a mess the Biden EPA left us. It is going to end up reducing the cost of living. It's going to create jobs. It's going to make it easier to purchase a car. It will be easier to heat your home. We're proud of this effort. The effort that we have is fulfilling the mandate that you earned from the American public. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans, unleashing energy dominance, permitting reform, advancing cooperative federalism, making America the AI capital of the world, and bringing back American auto jobs. When you called me that day asking for me to take this position, I was honored. And you were very specific.
Yeah, we barely
Clear what you wanted us
produce
to accomplish.
American cars,
We understand our
right?
mission, and at the Trump EPA,
Like
we're
the only
really proud.
people who produce
Great job. You're doing a great job.
American
You have a lot of
cars are
applications for approvals
very
for power
few.
plants, which are going to really power the
Right,
the
and I
bigger
think
plants.
even
I mean, they're doing
Chevy
an
and
excellent job
Ford
because we
get
can't
some of
rely
their
on
parts
getting
from
all it's tired,
overseas
and it's,
too, so
you
it's
know,
kind of
very-
like
very,
not
subject
all
to being
American
attacked,
made anymore.
whether by rain or by bombs or by anything else. And we're letting people build their own power plants, and these are a lot of them being built with the AI and beyond the AI chips. And we're letting them build their own power, and never been done before. We're going to get it done quickly and approved quickly as part of a plant. They'll have a sort of be their own power company. And it's very
Ford
exciting.
is
You
not
couldn't believe it when I told them that,
100%
so we can give you the
American-made
approvals
anymore.
very fast as part of your regular plan.
They
You
are
build
assembled
electric
in the
producing plants, and
US,
It's very exciting.
but they import
And,
parts.
They're able to do it very quickly and very well. And you made it possible.
about-
Thank you. You have a lot of
was it
applications
Chevy?
for some of the biggest plants that have ever been built in the world. These are serious plants.
Oh, even Chevy, right?
Approved.
Yeah. So basically, even all of the American car companies that were once American are not American anymore. They all outsource their work now, and then they ship the parts here to build them. But they have assembly lines here to build them.
Open for business. Working with Secretary Bergen and Secretary Wright.
But yeah,
You're gonna make
so basically, only Elon Musk has 100% American made.
Sean?
He's the only one fabricating all of his work, right? Production, right? The resources, the material, everything, all in America.
for the Merchant Marine Academy a couple days ago, and we have some of the greatest young men and women who are learning how to be mechanical engineers to rebuild and fix the engines on those ships, but also how to sail ships. I would tell you that over the past decades,
Yeah,
this
I thought
academy
that was
has
the
become,
case.
It needs some love.
Because it was like,
It's been a
at
little
some
bit
point,
left.
it was like,
We have to invest in sailors, and I appreciate you taking the initiative to get global
because
quality
at some
on
point,
those
you,
ships, sailors to sail those ships.
when you do all
These are the
that
people who
shit,
help
nothing's
lead
America
during the points of
anymore.
crisis to support the military, so thank you for that. Number two, the last administration.
So what
announced
is America now?
3,200 projects, big, beautiful roads and bridges,
If we're just not gonna make
But they
anything.
announced that they didn't sign a grant agreement. 3,200. So the money.
Well,
doesn't
what
go
happened
door
to our
build
intellectual
infrastructure
property in
the country.
America?
It's fun to do an announcement. It's actually the harder work to put together these grant agreements. So we're doing the work right now at DOT to get these grant agreements done and build the projects. Most of them are good. And they also put in all of this green and social justice requirements on roads and bridges. We're pulling all that out and putting the money toward the infrastructure, not the social movement from the last administration.
Good steel, right, as opposed to
Good
green
steel.
paper mache.
American steel.
Thanks, great job.
So first, we are, I would say, more than friends. We've all become family, and I think that what you have assembled in your vision is a turning point, an inflection point in American history. And so just being a part of that is the greatest honor. So thank you for that. And again, just the relationships here and the honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership. So I just want to say that first. The second thing I want to say is that on behalf of the farmers and ranchers, food security is national security. We have to be able to feed ourselves. And your idea of using tariffs along with deregulation and tax cuts, but your idea of using tariffs to ensure that we are putting forward and putting America first, no one understands that better than our farmers and our ranchers. But having said that, emerging from 4 years of Biden with a 30% increase in inputs for our farmers and ranchers, with an almost $50 billion trade deficit. When we left the first time, it was zero, meaning that they are hurting. So the period of uncertainty we're in, they know.
Yeah,
that
I
your
mean,
vision will
California
lead us
is in
into
deficit, too.
prosperity, for all Americans, but for my people, for the farmers and ranchers, unlike any they have seen before. And I think they are really, really excited and so grateful for your leadership.
And then Gavin
but also,
Newsom was
never fail
hoping
to
on the
say
fact that he
you
could
have
get
the
federal
backs of our
funding
farmers
to
and our
like
ranchers. It was the first
pay
phone
for
call
his
I had
bullshit
after
too. I was like,
voted
oh
through the
man,
Senate.
this guy's a
And
fucking
that message
joke.
just resonates with almost an 85% support of you in the last election. They're with you. Interestingly, the biggest budget driver at the United States Department of Agriculture is not farming and ranching or agriculture, it's food stamps. And so as we emerge and embark, Secretary Kennedy and I, on your vision of making America healthy again, a massive part of that is realigning and reworking our food stamp program so that it better serves
Make
us.
America healthy
Yeah, to the point of
again.
getting the transgender, DEI, Green New Deal out of the USDA and realigning is really important. So,
It's out of the media. Is it 100% out of the media?
99.9. They get that last point.
but thank you, sir.
Much different military. Thanks very much. Good job. And eggs again.
No.
Eggs are
Big,
good.
right?
No.
Yes, yes, sir. Also prices. Retail will come. Easter is the Super Bowl for eggs. So, there may be a little fluctuation, but no, we feel really good about it. Thank you.
That's what I hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I echo what Howard said on the trade queue, that we've got over 75 countries that want to come in. So we get Treasury, Commerce, Jameson at USTR, and we're putting a process in place. And as you said, you're going to be part of the negotiations too. Because I've had these countries call me up and Secretary Besson, we're happy you're going to be negotiating. Well, President Trump's going to be involved too. So, bring your best deal. On the budget is moving quickly in the House and the Senate, thanks to your leadership. We're also going to have debt ceiling in there, so we're going to get an increase in the debt ceiling. So, and that will be the done and dusted for
Part of the bill that we just got to vote on today.
part of the bill. It'll be done and dusted for 2 years, so we won't have to worry about that. And then I gave a speech yesterday to 1,400 small and community bankers, and they were so happy to hear from your administration. And I told them Wall Street's done great for the past 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. It can continue doing great, but it's Main Street's turn now, and it's those small bankers through deregulation,
Main
through
Street,
emphasis
small
on
bankers,
Main Street, your Main Street
deregulation.
agenda, bringing back jobs, that is going to power the smaller communities. And then finally, the bond auction went very well yesterday. We had a lot of foreigners show up as the support, showing that the U.S. is still the best place to invest. The inflation report, as you said, was quite good. And energy prices are down more than 20% since January 20th.
Amazing.
Very good. Good numbers.
Great number.
President, we've had some great wins in the last few days. That you were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority, the U.S. Americans want you to be president
I
because
had
of
to
your
play
agenda, and the courts are ruling that you have the authority to determine how the money of this country will be spent. That's what the American citizens wanted, and that's what they're getting. An example of that Friday was the Department of Education, that you can determine how the money will be spent. No more DEI. and that impacts every agency across the board. On the civil side again, NLRB, we had a big win in the Supreme Court there. OPM, a big win there. But also 16,000 workers there. But also on the criminal side, the Alien Enemies Act. We are winning there. And your directive to me was to keep America safe. And that's
I
what
can't
we're doing.
stop
There's
myself.
alien enemies, all of these gangs, and they are enemies of our country. They are terrorists, they are organized crime, they've come here, they are extremely organized, they're spread throughout our country, and they're creating terror. And no more under your directive. And that is stopped.
America. Fuck
With
yeah.
$500 million of pure cocaine coming into our country to kill our kids. They were caught. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These gang members are going back to where they came, or they're going to an El Salvador prison at your directive. And you also gave us a directive to prosecute people who are going after Tesla to the fullest extent of the law. Some of the greatest police work I've seen. We've made 4 arrests. There will be no negotiations at your directive. They're all looking at 20 years in prison, and within the next 24 hours, you're going to be seeing another huge arrest on a Tesla dealership, President.
We go back to human.
With no negotiations.
That's great.
We must go back to human.
Thanks, man. Doing a great job. Thank you very
Human.
much.
We must go back to
Mr.
human.
President, accountability matters. That's what we're recognizing with our partners at the Department of Labor for Government Efficiency. Just a few weeks ago, we realized there's about $4.4 billion in COVID funds that were not used that the state coffers were just holding on to. Out of that, we've returned $1.4 billion back to the state treasury, so essentially to the American people, and we'll go back and claw the rest of those billions of dollars back. And on the heels of that, late last night, we're understanding unemployment insurance fraud. That trust needs to be whole for the American people. When we need it for who deserves it. That's not what we're seeing. And the numbers that we saw last night, again, exposed by our partners at DOJ, at the Department of Labor, since 2020, over $400 million of payments have gone out already. And when you hear these numbers, apparently in the United States, we have over almost 25,000 people who are over 115 years old, who are collecting $59 million that we have sent out to people. Talk about fraudulent behavior. Mr. President, 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments at the tune of $254 million has gone out. And lastly, 10,000 people who have not been born yet, 15 years into the future,
Not been born yet, yeah.
$69 million, and they haven't even been born yet. In one case, they will be born 129 years from now. The United States government sent them $41,000,
talking about the
and they're not
new
born
res-
yet.
yeah.
So, under the
Apparently
Department
they
of Labor,
found
those are the
people
things that
who
we're
are
uncovering.
supposed to
I
be
couldn't
born
more
in the
honored to tell the
future
American people
somehow.
that we're bringing back their dollars and we're saving them and returning them to the United States Treasury.
So someone made some
Also,
clerical
jobs numbers.
errors,
Last
right?
Friday, 228,000 new jobs were reported. That is good for the American people.
Now,
That
was
is
it
my primary job,
purposefully?
to grow
I
that
don't know.
workforce under your leadership. So we've kicked off the America at Work tour, and we'll be visiting all 50 states, and I'll be working with my colleagues here to do just that. So thank you, Mr. President. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to keep our focus on the American worker.
So you're
Could be
finding tremendous growth.
purposefully.
Those numbers
I
are
mean,
really
given
bad
what
when
they
you-
were trying to do.
Over
Fucking
115
Biden.
years old, and I think you had mentioned the oldest person in our country is 114 years old. That's
Reported.
pretty good.
A woman living in Pennsylvania, but apparently there's 24,000 more of them that are 115 or older that we're
I
giving
hope you did
payments
that.
to.
So we have 24,000 older than the oldest person.
Yes.
And what are we doing with that? How do we get that money back?
Yeah, so we're working with our IGs to do that further investigation. The House and Senate, we had a 5-year statute of limitations. We've got an extension on that, another 5 years. And so the goal, in my opinion, we should never have a statute of limitations to return the American dollars back to the Treasury when there's fraud. But at this point, we will continue to work hard and double down and return those dollars to the Treasury.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Chrissy?
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership at the border. For the second month in a row, you have broken the record in the history of the nation for the lowest number of encounters at the border, which is absolutely remarkable. You have said that America's laws matter and that they'll be enforced, and we're hard at work now to get people to go back home that are here illegally. So the Alien Registration Act has been in place long enough now that those individuals that are here illegally, if they haven't registered, then they can be charged criminally, and they can face fines up to $1,000 a day and face deportation if they don't go home, and they'll never get the chance to come back to America. So we're encouraging people to use the CBP Home app to register, and we're working on the resources and funding to
Oh
buy a
yeah,
plane ticket to
they're
send
using
them
that
home.
app to
I went El Salvador,
basically
Colombia, and Mexico,
be
and
a
those countries and others are
self-reporting
thinking about setting up
to
programs to support
deport
these individuals
yourself.
when they get back to their country. So when they get there, they'll have housing and food assistance, and so making sure that these folks have the opportunity to go home so that they can get the chance to come back to America is important. And
So it's a very big self-deport operation that we're starting.
thousands of people have already.
Yes,
self-reported.
basically, if
Well,
you
we're just gonna do-
basically if you self-deport because you're not, you're obviously illegal now because of your status has changed, or you forgot to fucking renew your status or something, right? Whatever the case, You self-deport, you still have a chance to come back in, right?
When you have 21 million people that need to go home because they're here breaking our laws, then we need to facilitate that. And I've been working with the governors a lot lately on several different issues. One of them has been on FEMA for recommendations on how to do exactly what you've directed us to do. And then also I sent a letter and communicated with them that they need to be setting up a SCIF. Some of our governors don't have secure facilities to have national security issues. I think one of the jobs Homeland Security has is to give communication down to states, to local cities and communities. And so recommending they get a SCIF, they have secure comms with them at all times or nearby so that they can have national security conversations, and then to have somebody in their office designated that is their communications person. A lot of them have emergency management officers, but they don't necessarily have somebody designated when it comes to a national security issue that we may need to communicate with them on. And I think American people need to know that Real ID will be required to travel on May 7th. So those governors have been notified to communicate that at home. We don't want anybody to get delayed and not be able to travel when they get to an airport. And this will also help us bring integrity back to all of our IDs and how they're used for issuing driver's licenses. And governors know how I feel about making sure their driver's licensing system has integrity, because a lot of people use their driver's license to vote. And the backbone of our country and the foundation is election integrity. So we're giving all those directions to our governors and communicating that so they can lead on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
Give them a chance to come back.
So it gives you a real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers and hotels and various places where where they need the people. And we're going to be working with you very carefully on that. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them. And then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out, they're going to come back as legal workers.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Which I think will be I think it's very important.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel. Jameson, I watched you testify for the last couple of days. You're on every night at 3 o'clock in the morning testifying. You did great. You were fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's what I like to do for fun, sir. You've been keeping us very busy. Last week, you started a reordering of international trade, something that hasn't happened for 80 years, something that should have happened decades ago, and you know that.
Yeah, they tried to rake this guy over the coals for like some information or something about oh yeah. Yeah, he was the one that they were trying to question about the market manipulation shit.
You've known that for a long time. That's why you have us all working on this. You came into an emergency situation where President Biden left us with a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. It's the largest of any country in human history. The largest. So you declared an emergency. You took action.
You said the largest in history, right?
In history. The planet. It's never been
anything like what he left us. He left us a mess. His whole administration.
He left us a mess. Yeah, there it is. He's dropping Biden.
You declared
There's
an emergency.
Biden.
You imposed a trade action. So now you have a tariff on the world. It promotes U.S. manufacturing, protects U.S. workers, and you've also given room for negotiation during this time so we can open export markets for our farmers and other producers and American workers. And this is why the unions vote for you. This is why the workers vote for you. This is why the families want you to be the president, because you're standing up for American workers and American communities. We've had countries come in over the past couple of weeks that represent more than half of global domestic GDP, more than half. That's what's coming in to talk to you and to your advisors about how to have reciprocal trade, how to have fair trade. What would have happened without you?
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented DOGE team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And some of it is just absurd. Like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether. I mean, come on, that's just crazy. Some of these things, people ask me like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually, just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. It's, as the military would say, target-rich environment. So I think we're doing a lot of good and excellent collaboration with the Cabinet to achieve these savings. And it will actually result in better services for the American people, and that we're going to be spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and fair and good.
And your people are fantastic. In fact, hopefully they'll stay around.
Yo, Dre, you my bromie dog? What do you want?
Smart, sharp, right?
You're
Smart
shady.
ideas that nobody would have thought of. Very computer
I don't trust
savvy.
you.
We're working with hard to get the Trump Gold Card operational, hopefully in the next week or so.
Why don't you ask Elon to be your adopted father, you weirdo? Why not? Because of your name and just who you are.
Thanks to your leadership and setting the mandate of transparency and accountability across the U.S. government. I'm bringing that transparency and accountability to the intelligence community. first and foremost, to make sure that you and your cabinet have that real-time,
I'd rather
relevant,
get
political
deported.
objective intelligence to best inform whether it's negotiations for peace, negotiations around tariffs.
But he's
the great work
rich.
that you are leading around,
You'd get to live
cabinet
that rich
today.
life.
Secondly, working with the Department of Homeland
Didn't you
Security
want to
and
ask
FBI
Trump for a
to
house? You
increase our
fucking
information sharing
weirdo.
to achieve your goal of countering the narcotic trafficking.
I don't even know how
and
the fuck he's gonna do
ability
that
to go
for
after
you, but
cartels
yeah.
designated as
Did
foreign
you want to
terrorists.
ask Trump
I met
for a
with
house,
the
you weirdo?
National Sheriff's Association this week, being able to work to make sure that the information that they are getting on the ground, that local law enforcement is getting on the ground, is being fed back up through to our National Counterterrorism Center, and that we have all of the federal agencies, state and local law enforcement, all on the same page as we are working to make our country safe again.
Trump.
And lastly, sir, as you know, declassification and rooting out weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community is a huge priority. You know more than anyone else the very dangerous and negative consequences of that. I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan
Not cringy ass Elon.
paper around RFK, Senator Robert F.
What do you
Kennedy's
mean?
assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination.
Motherfucker
These
is
have been
the
sitting in
richest
boxes
dude
and
on the
storage for
planet.
decades. They have never been scanned or seen
And
before.
he
We'll
has
have
the
those ready for use here within the next few days.
Department of Defense on his asshole.
Bobby, how do you feel about that? That's hitting close to home.
Yeah, no
When you
kidding.
think,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Bobby when that statement's made.
I'm very grateful.
He could probably get you any tech in the world.
Good.
Yeah.
And you'll let Bobby see some of this because, it's very personal stuff.
He could get you any house.
I've asked him, and his response is, put it out. The world needs to know the truth.
And his uncle that's been out, and anything that hasn't been out, they can go to your offices and see. Right?
Everything that we have within our possession, it's either online or it's physically at the National Archives and Records Agency. We also have hunters going out, Mr. President, and looking in the storage lockers at FBI and CIA and other agencies, specifically to find if there is anything else that has not been reported. We're actively going out and trying to search out the truth.
Okay. Yeah, we want to get it all
fuck.
out.
Yes.
100%.
As you
Thank
can
very
tell,
much.
my nose
Thank
is
you.
fucking fucked.
Mr. President, on behalf of America's manufacturers, I want to thank you for standing
Allergies
up for the
has
Chinese
fucked up
Party
my
and
nose.
fighting for our
All that
Main
sneezing and
Street, for our
shit, like,
workers, and for those that make things in
cut
America.
open my
I'm out
nose
on
a
a
bit.
Made in America manufacturing tour, and as I go across the country, people are grateful to have a president who's not just fighting on the tariffs front.
I
but
lost
get inflation
respect
down,
for him when he
create
lied
jobs.
that he's
After
top-level
Biden
player on
destroyed
League of Legends.
110,000 manufacturing jobs in just his last year. You've already brought back
okay, that's
thousands
not
and
what.
thousands of
Okay, sure.
manufacturing jobs. So the American worker is grateful. Main
That's
Street
the
is
war
grateful for
crap.
you. And
That's
at the
not
agency level,
okay.
we're
Sure.
making sure that manufacturers have access
He
to
lied
the capital
about
they need,
POE.
but we can't do that if we're not fighting fraud. So we
Path of exile,
modified our
by
loan
the way.
applications to have citizenship verification.
He
to make sure
may
we
have
birthdays
lied
counted,
on the
since
Diablo as
principles around
well, but
lending
it's
that,
hard to
the Biden
tell.
administration had waived. They waived $450 million of fees
Because the
in
game
1
is
year.
so
We're
fucking
restoring
easy.
that for the American taxpayer. And the American taxpayer, as tax day approaches, April 15th, they need to know that this cabinet, this administration, and thank you, Elon Musk and Doge, for fighting for the American taxpayer to make sure that their hard-earned dollars are well spent, that they have a return on investment for this country, and that we're
He
fighting
hasn't
for
said
them
anything
just
about
as
that
you are every single day. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we are working at HHS to advance storage.
Also, Elon's
Make America
maps.
healthy again. I'm working with Lee Zeldin to reassess the fluoride rules based upon the August release by the National Toxicity Program of new science that shows a direct inverse correlation between exposure to fluoride and IQ loss, particularly in children. Lee and I were in Utah this week, to announce that Utah became the first state in the country to ban supplemental fluoride. I'm working with Brooke on
The fluoride in the water.
24 states.
The fluoride in the water is making you gay.
To get soda pops
Do you
off
know
the
about
food
that?
stamp program, off the SNAP program. We've launched Operation Storage Feed.
Turning
to get
you
the
into
bad
a
chemicals
pussy-ass
out of
bitch.
formula. We're working with governors across the country to get good food into the school lunch programs and to get rid of food chemical dyes and other bad chemicals in our
I don't want no part of this
We've shown now
call.
that this directly affects academic performance, violence in the schools, and mental health, as well as physical health. We are working with governors across the country to get cell-to-cell or bell-to-bell legislation to restrict the use of cell phones in schools, which again dramatically impacts academic performance. Today we announced
You don't want the brain worms
dramatic
coming
reduction
after you?
in animal testing at NIH and FDA.
What if the
of
brain
assisted
worms
AI,
could
which we
save
now
you?
found is much more precise in identifying the impact
Just
of
like it
toxics
saved
in various
Mr.
products.
JFK
We're working
Jr.
with
here.
Elon, who's done an incredible job to eliminate the redundancies and to streamline operations
Kidding.
at all the health agencies and to recalibrate our trajectory to your agenda of making America healthy again. And finally, on the CDC has done an amazing job at getting the measles outbreak under control. We have about 680 cases now in 22 states, compared to the same outbreak in Europe, which is 127,000 cases and 37 deaths. Our numbers in this country have now plateaued. And I want to thank CDC for that. And we're trying to refocus the press. We've had 3 measles deaths in this country in over 20 years. And we're trying to refocus the press to get them to pay attention to the chronic disease epidemic as you've asked us to. We have now 38% of American youth are pre-diabetic. This was unknown 30 years ago.
Holy shit, I'm sorry. Go back to that.
We're going to switch over to AI, which we now found is much more precise in identifying the impacts of toxics in various products. We're working with Elon, who's done an incredible job to eliminate the redundancies and to streamline operations at all the health agencies and to recalibrate our trajectory.
He's on the verge to break down crying. He has a voice box issue.
To your agenda of making
He had
America
something
healthy
wrong
again.
with his voice box or his
and
throat,
finally, on
and
the-
they had to
the
do
CDC has done
surgery,
an
and then
amazing job at
they
getting the
fixed it.
measles
But then,
outbreak under control.
as a result of
We have about
fixing it,
680 cases now
unfortunately,
in
he
22
got
states,
this
compared
weird
to the
speech
same outbreak in
impediment,
Europe, which
kind
is
of.
127,000
I mean, it's not really a speech impediment. It's just his voice box a little muffed
And
up.
I want to thank CDC for that.
He had like
And
throat
we're trying to
cancer or
refocus
some
the
shit.
press. We've had 3 measles deaths in this country over 20 years. And we're trying to refocus the press to get them to pay attention to the chronic disease epidemic as you've asked us to. We have now 38% of American youth are pre-diabetic. This was unknown 30 years
Shit
ago.
behind the
Every
scenes?
child that
I
becomes diabetic,
guess.
there should be a headline. We have 100 million adults who are pre-diabetic. or
I don't
diabetic.
think he sees them in that way, but
And
sure, I
we have-
guess.
as you know, we have now, the autism rates have gone from now, most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31, 1 in 12, so they're going up again.
Oh yeah, RFK
From
Jr.
1 in
used to be
10,000
into drugs a
when I
lot
was a
too,
kid.
apparently.
And we are
When
going
he
in a
was
good
in his
direction. We are
younger
gonna know by September
younger
we want a
years,
massive,
he was doing lots of
testing
drugs.
and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around
As
the
do
world.
we all,
By
right?
September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those.
Those are so big. Think
Yeah,
of
this is
that. There
JFK's
was
son.
1 in
Yeah,
10,000
JFK.
children
His
had
name is
autism.
JFK
And
Jr.,
now it's
bro.
1 in 31.
Hello?
Not 31,000, 31. That is it. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer, where you stop taking something.
Have you not searched his name? What is wrong with you?
Something's causing it. It can't
Why
be-
are-
it
why are
can't
you
be,
this dumb?
From 10,000 to, can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby. Please.
Well, Mr. President, one of your primary administration goals is to make sure that we unleash American energy, and of course the strategy behind that is when we do that, it helps make it more affordable for all Americans. Energy isn't just industry, it is the foundation of every other industry, whether it's food, manufacturing, clothing, transportation. And then also when we've got the ability to generate and not just be energy independent but energy dominant, then we have the opportunity to sell energy to our friends and allies versus them buy it from our adversaries. And our adversaries were funding terrorism and conflicts against our allies by their oil and gas sales that we're going through a Swiss cheese set of sanctions. So with your creation of the National Energy Dominance Council, over half the people at this table serve on that. Everyone has been engaged, whether it's interactions with negotiations with other countries, with putting sanctions in place that actually work, with cutting deregulation, working on biofuels, building infrastructure for transportation. There's a whole range of things.
What was his
that are being tackled,
designation
but when
again?
the
I
proper
forgot.
outcome of all that is that
Health?
the Biden administration was restricting supply. You're increasing supply. When you increase supply, then prices start to come down. And we have a huge opportunity to do this. Just in Interior alone, there's 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface, and 2.5 billion
Department
acres
of
of
Health?
offshore. And the Biden
Oh, yeah,
administration
Department
was
of
trying
Health
to
and
restrict this
Human
so that you couldn't get the timber, which you couldn't cut a tree, you couldn't graze
Couldn't
a cow,
remember the
you
tag.
couldn't
I was
develop
like,
oil
what
and gas
was it
minerals,
again?
and you couldn't develop the critical minerals we need for our technology, for our defense industries, and to be able to help us win.
I guess
AI
I don't want no
against
part
China.
of this
So
cult.
we're
What do you
opening
mean?
up this, and
Who
with
the
your
fuck is the
executive orders and
healthiest
your work,
person on the fucking
on
planet
Tuesday,
now?
a historic day. You ended the war on beautiful, clean coal.
I
which has been
shouldn't
going
say
on since
healthiest
Obama
person on the
office.
planet.
China gets 60% of their electricity from
I mean,
coal.
have you seen some of
They're
our
opening
health?
up they've opened up 94
Some of the
gigawatts
health
of coal in the last
department
year.
people
As part of
in
this
some of
94
these other
gigawatts,
states
that's enough for
are
94
fat as
Denvers,
fuck.
to be able to, 1 gigawatt per metro area like that, it's unheard of. So what we have an opportunity under your leadership to come back. The Gulf of America
You're fucking
had its
obese.
first offshore lease sale, which is scheduled for later this year, but that was the industry loved that because we're now, the Gulf of America is now open for business again, and there's as much as 7 billion barrels of oil accessible now. They've increased the upside of what they think that is. On the coal front, the estimate is the financial value of the coal in America is $8 trillion. That was an asset on the balance sheet that we've now being put back on again. And of course, in Alaska, with your separate executive orders to unleash Alaska Energy between ANWR, the North Slope, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve of Alaska, all of those we've reversed my decision. Those are all open for business again, and all of this is leading to the investment coming to America. The smart money is coming to the U.S. That's why we've got trillions of dollars of investment that are showing up at the door because they know if they're going to do manufacturing here, there's going to be energy to power their plants. And so again, thank you for your leadership and thank you for everything you're doing.
Very good. Thank you. Marco?
Well, Mr. President, one of the most important things I believe you'll achieve in your presidency is reordering the world in a proper way. For 31 years, more than 31 years now, multiple administrations have allowed the Chinese to deindustrialize this country, to take away jobs and factories and pillars of our national strength. And
I mean, right? Yeah, I mean, it did happen.
Congratulate you and your team that's working on that.
Well, I mean, we're buying everything from China now.
As you see from all these other countries that are now coming here and wanting to.
Because everyone wanted to outsource over there.
I mean, basically, we lived in a world where
and get a part of that Chinese market.
Our companies cannot do anything over
And
there.
then when they got over there, they got all their fucking IP stolen and shit.
On the peace and security of the world. So we thank you. An important meeting, thanks to you, is going to happen on Saturday for the first time in a long time. There'll be direct talks between Ambassador Woodcock and a top-level leader in Iran. We hope that'll lead to peace. We've been very clear what Iran is never going to have is a nuclear weapon, and I think that's what led to this meeting. We'll wait for him to come back from it, and we're hopeful about that. I would also say that we are receiving, and I think the Department of Homeland Security can confirm this, historic cooperation from countries all over the world. Number one, in taking back their citizens. Every country in the world has to take back people that are illegally in another country, and we have countries that refuse to do it, or we kind of ignore our calls. All of them are doing it.
Well, I mean, you already have some of these countries that don't even purchase anything from the United States, anyways.
President El Salvador will be here next week. Has really been a good friend of the United
why
States.
not? It's a better time to fucking renegotiate some deals because these pieces of shit are fucking over. Fucking us over. And we have to fight some of these wars for these assholes.
We expect you to go to class and study and get a degree. If you come here to vandalize a library, take over a campus, and do all kinds of crazy things, we're going to get rid of these people, and we're going to continue to do it. So when we identify lunatics like these, we take away their student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa. The press cover student visa is like there's some sort of birthright. No, a student visa is like me inviting you into my home. If you come into my home and put all kinds of crap on my couch, I'm going to kick you out of my house. and so, that's what we're doing with our country, thanks to the president. And last but not least, very important development this week, both Pam and I are very excited. The finest higher education institution in the United States, University of Florida, is also now the national champions in basketball, and we hope you'll host them here soon, Mr. President. Go Gators.
They're coming.
Good for the SEC. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. You're really doing a great job. We appreciate it. Any question?
So, Mr. President, can you give us a reaction to today's stock market drop and also give us a sense of the next
here we go. Questions.
Well, I haven't seen it because I've been here for 2.5 hours, so I'll be saying it. I think Scott want to have. Scott, you want to have a statement on that?
I mean, it's up right now.
The up 2, down 1 is not a bad ratio, or up 10, down 5. And I think as we
well, I mean, it was up when it
when
it closed.
Settle with these countries who are going to bring us their best offers, we will end up in a place of great certainty over the next 90 days on tariffs. But we have very good inflation numbers today. Oil's down. We had a successful bond market, so I don't see anything unusual today.
And next steps for China, sir?
Yeah, everything's up right now.
See, what happens with China? We love to be able to work a deal. They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond nobody. How people stood for it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
My position is not even believable. And we're talking about many presidents, not just a couple. But they did, and all we're doing is putting it back in shape. We're resetting the table. And I'm sure that we'll be able to get along very well. I have great respect for President Xi. He's been, in a true sense, he's been a friend of mine for a long period of time. And I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries. I look forward to it.
Mr. President, China retaliated today by reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. What's your reaction to them now targeting?
What do you mean, reducing the amount of film? Who the fuck cares? These motherfuckers were already reducing the amount of films they were getting. Like, barely any Hollywood movies get passed over there.
Targeting cultural exports from the United States?
I think I've heard of worse things.
Yeah, seriously. Like, get the fuck out. Who cares about that shit?
Also on China, the Ukrainians say they have evidence that Chinese soldiers have been found fighting for the Russians in Ukraine. Can the US verify this? And if so, what does the US plan on doing to China to counteract that?
We'll look into it, but I think beyond that, we're really looking to get that war stopped. They're losing 2,500 and even more than that.
I disagree.
They're Russian and they're Ukrainian. They're not
Man, they got
American.
I show speed over there. They don't
And
need
we see if we can get
fucking
it stopped. And I think we're making
fucking
progress. I
America
appreciate the
fucking
ballerina
movies.
who was,
They don't
released.
even like American
Request of
movies.
A very good friend of all of ours, actually. Dana White called me.
A lot
and
of
said
American
it's,
films get
it's
past
the
there.
friend or the relationship of
Sure
one
they
of the
do.
Fighters for UFC or one of the fighters. And Dana's an incredible guy, and we spoke to President Putin about it, and they made a deal. They released the young ballerina, and she is now out, and that was good, so we appreciate
They
that.
would
We
only
hope that
take
we
the
can get
ones
a
where there's like
relatively
some
soon with
fucking
Russia
white
and Ukraine to stop the
favoritism
fighting.
bullshit or some
It's so
shit.
senseless. It's such a horrible thing. Would have never happened if I were president, but it did happen, and
Or they're trying to put,
I think we're
they're
gonna
trying
get it. I
to
think
say
we're gonna get it stopped.
China's
Gotta
the
get going. We gotta get it.
fucking
We have to
right
move it faster.
number
Likewise with
one,
the
right?
hostages. We're making progress. We, there's 59 hostages, but only 24
White
of them
savior
are
trope,
living.
like
And
yeah,
so
they
it's
do
been,
do that shit.
presented to me by the mothers of
Yeah,
some
I
of
mean
the
you.
dead, mothers and fathers of some of the dead hostages, and they want the bodies of their baby, as they say, their baby, their young boys. They want them back as much as if they were alive. It's amazing because when I met the hostages 2 weeks ago here, I couldn't believe what they had to go through. By the way, but when I met them, they said, "Yeah, there's 59, but 24 are living." And
I think they
actually
made fun
consider
of
it-
that
this
in the
should be
Boys
apparent.
show.
You consider it this
It
way,
was
that
popular back in the early
remainder
2000s.
who are dead,
Sounds,
the 24 that
sounds
are alive, the
familiar.
remainder that are dead, they want them back just as much as they would want them back if they were alive. It's really pretty amazing and pretty sad. So we're getting close to getting them back. We have a lot came back. A lot of people are very grateful. And some came back in pretty bad shape. Some came back, they're okay. I think they're going to be scarred mentally for a long time because if you sit down.
Oh
and talk
yeah,
to them, as I have,
remember that movie
what they went through,
Freedom
but we're
Writers?
making progress.
Yeah,
We're dealing
apparently
with
that
Israel, we're
movie
dealing with
had
Hamas,
some.
And it's a nasty group.
Oh, with the
Yeah,
lady,
so,
with the
how close
teacher,
are you to the first
Hillary
country
Swank.
coming to actually make
Yeah.
a deal with the United States over tariffs? Is it days, months,
Well, I
weeks?
think it's very close, but we have to have a deal that we like. We don't want a
Oh,
deal that's going to
with
be a
Matthew
bad deal.
Perry,
I could
McFarlane,
make
yeah.
every deal in one day if
Yeah,
I wanted
exactly,
to.
yep.
Do this in all in one day. I could just say, here's what we'll do.
And
I was saying to the people before, to Scott, mostly to Scott and
Yeah.
Howard.
I was
and
looking
some of
for
other
the
people who work with us
one.
on the negotiations. We have a lot of law firms that have paid me
I
a
was
lot of money.
I was looking for the
legal
ones
fees.
that
We're
were
gonna
sent to
probably use
China,
those
like the
firms
Chinese,
to,
like
if we can,
Matt
make
Damon's.
a contribution to the country. But
There's
they're
some
great firms, they're the best
Chinese.
firms, the biggest.
Oh yeah, the
And really
Great
most
Wall.
prestigious.
That's
And
the
we
one.
may be using them to help you guys out because
Yeah.
you need a lot of lawyers. And I'm not sure Pam's gonna
Matt
be happy
Damon's The
because
Great
we sent
Wall.
over about 200 lawyers. She's working on
You should
criminal
take a
stuff.
look.
I think
You should take a
that's
look
gonna
at
be our
that one.
focus more than anything else. So we'll find out.
That
we
one
have a lot
was
of
a big
lawyers
one.
that you've been reading about where they paid $100 million a firm on average. Now we have the final 4 or 5 are at $125 million. So I have a lot of legal fees I
Damon.
could give to these people.
Matt
And we might as well
Damon.
use them. Hopefully I won't need that many legal fees or that much. I may. Who knows? After it ends, after we leave, maybe I'll need it. But if I do, it's not going to be very pleasant. So I think we're going to.
That was the most
try to
recent
use,
one,
these
2016, I
very
think.
Prestigious
Yeah.
firms to help us out.
Or that
because
was
there's-
the.
we have a lot of countries, but we want to make deals that are proper for. the
I
United
loved them
States, not
as a
just we can
kid.
make
They
deals
were
easy,
feel
we wanna
good,
make
but
them
at one point, at the end of the day, you get this false feeling that it isn't real. It's a movie. I know, right?
Well, that's what would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make, or we have to make, or that's good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties.
You wouldn't
And then we go back to where we were.
go back to the numbers that you announced last week. You wouldn't extend the pause?
No. We'll have to see what happens at that time.
None of the actual characters are
You said
feeling
yesterday
that
you
way.
were considering
Correct.
Some exceptions for companies. Can you talk about what you're considering, and then also on the reciprocal tariffs, you said it'd be substantially lower. Is the same math formula going to be used, or is that tossed out?
I mean, it's obviously
I'm
not the
considering now for
case.
any,
It's just
country
the right
or company, but it's
the
possible I would.
analysis
But I'm not,
that some
we don't have
people
that
like to
situation
give
right now. People understand where we are, what we're going to do. But it
because
can
of the
happen.
dynamic.
It's called flexibility. You have to have a certain flexibility.
What are you planning on using the money that you're gaining from revenue through the tariffs on?
Paying down national debt, reducing taxes, creating good budgets, helping Christie with the border and all of the other things. I built hundreds of miles of walls.
Border. Put up the wall.
Border wall in the
We
first
need more
administration.
wall.
But we're going to beef it up and we're going to add more. And you know the numbers are incredible. Really.
Yeah,
Numbers are
we should
what's-
get back
what's taking
that
place. We have
pallet,
great numbers, but these numbers are
or
top in
actually
my
we
last
probably
administration.
shouldn't get back that
And
pallet.
Christie and Tom Homan have done an amazing job.
Apparently, Biden
You know, it's an
sold off
expensive
some
process.
pallets
This
of
weekend,
our
where they used to have
resources
hundreds
to
of
build
thousands
the
of people
wall.
standing there pouring through the border in Tijuana,
Yeah,
Mexico.
remember that
This
one?
weekend they had nobody.
Fucking asshole.
You had a man sweeping this massive piece of concrete, which is, you know, the area where.
And then there was pallets of bricks
And
that Biden
I
gave
looked at that during
to
the Biden administration. You couldn't see a piece of that concrete
to
till so many people
protesters,
You
and
couldn't-
they
if you
vandalized.
had helicopter shots, you couldn't see concrete. Now, this weekend you had nobody there but
I
the man
mean,
with a broom
he could
sweeping
have.
it, cleaning it up. Pretty amazing.
These
It's
motherfuckers could
really
have bought
amazing.
pallets for
But
these
it will be
guys.
used
I
for
don't
that. It'll be
know.
used for a lot of things. It'll be used by the Department of Justice for doing a great job. Pam is doing a fantastic job. So it's going to be used for a lot of different things.
On a 10% tariff, is that a basement? Is that the
It's a
floor?
baseline.
Can countries negotiate that to bring that
It depends
down?
on what they're adding. You know, some countries we have massive deficits with, or they have big surpluses with us, and others it's not that way. So it depends. That's why it's really they're all different. Every country is different. Some have certain advantages that others don't have.
Certain
things we have,
advantages
some-
that others
China
don't have. Oh my God, do I have
surplus
China?
$1 trillion.
Oh, oh, he
I
said
mean,
China.
The numbers are crazy, and others have basically no surpluses. We have some that are pretty even.
Yo, Dream, I
But they
identify as a
otherwise
white
we just
guy.
wanna get
Now,
that
as a
taken
white
care of.
guy,
So
you, my
everyone's
Asian
a
bro
little
me,
bit
I'm using
different.
my white savior privilege.
With
This
the EU
fucking
as one
guy.
bloc or individual
Go to
nations
China,
for the
okay?
threat of the tariffs?
We're looking
China
at it
will
as
love
one
you
block.
over there.
They've been very tough.
Just like
were
they
very
love
smart.
I Show
They were ready
Speed
to
over there.
announce retaliation, and then they heard about what we did with respect to China and others, but China. And they said, you know, we're going to hold back a little bit. They decided to hold back. I thought they were very smart. Look, the EU is very smart, but they really have to.
Man, that little song must have
States.
taken you
They were
back.
formed
This
for the
fucking
purpose of
guy.
taking advantage of
Not fucking
the United States.
Chinese.
And
I would
don't
need
blame them, and I
the.
don't blame China. I
I
don't
would need
blame
the
anybody. I blame the people that were
Vietnamese
sitting
fucking
at that desk
national
in that
anthem.
other beautiful Oval
I don't
Office
even know what that
for
one
allowing
is.
it to happen. Many presidents I blame. They should have never allowed it to happen. And I'm doing something that a lot of them wouldn't want to do. But I'm here, I do those things, and we're going to make this country great again. We were taken advantage of by almost everybody. I sat back in the last administration. I would actually read them. I don't have to read them. I know them so well. I would read some of these documents that were signed, deals, and I said, who would do it like this? Who would do it?
Man, you all look the
I could
same. Who
look at
gives a
deals
shit?
where
All
it's
right,
so
dude. I get it.
one-sided. Even,
Same do white people.
Japan,
Okay.
we get along great with Japan. We had the prime minister here. He was fantastic. As you know, Abe was great. Shinzo was great. He's a good friend of mine. Unfortunately, no longer with us. But we defend them, but they don't have to defend us. So that doesn't sound too good. We have a deal. We have a defense deal. We pay hundreds of billions of dollars to defend them. But if for any reason, in other words, we pay all the money. They don't pay anything. But if we're ever attacked, they don't have to do a thing to protect us. I said,
I don't know if I'm gonna get fucking copyrighted for that.
that's just one out of
TMC.
thousands. And I just wonder who did this. And it's people
Yeah,
that
that's
either hate our country
that's the
or didn't care.
Vietnamese national
An
anthem.
expression that you use. I think it's really
Bien
a lot of them
Quan.
didn't care. They just, it's just hard to believe how
I
bad.
fucking
Now
butchered
that's a
my
little bit of a
own
defensive deal, but I'm talking
goddamn
about trade deals
language.
and stuff. They're so bad, you would say, how come? And even when I'd renegotiate, like, I'd go to a country, they'd give me everything I asked for. I said, why didn't somebody ask for it, like, originally? They give me everything. I think when they were negotiating, they didn't care, or they didn't ask, or they were shy, or they were very stupid, or they hate our country. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
They hate our country.
Can you clarify what your vision is for U.S. Steel? You referenced it yesterday, but
Yeah.
there were some questions about what you actually want to see happen with
Look,
that.
U.S. Steel is going to do very well now because of tariffs, and I don't know why they even need a deal. But the only thing is, U.S. Steel. If you go back 80 or 90 years, that was a behemoth in this. That was our biggest, most. If we were around, we would have been very proud of it. Today, we have different types of companies that are big. Google, it's not the same as U.S. Steel, and I love Google, and I got to like the people that run it. Very capable people. They didn't like me so much in the first administration, but they like me a lot now. I don't know what happened, but I like them. But you know, I think they would be the first to admit. When I envisioned, you look at some of those steel factories from 90 years ago, we were in a different kind of country, but they were miles long. Today, you see just empty hulks. Those hulks are going to be filled up very soon because of what I'm doing with tariffs. It was a different kind of a thing. But if I didn't do that in the first term, my first term, if I didn't put tariffs on, we would have, because China and others were dumping steel. Billions of dollars of steel. Our steel companies were all closing. Every factory. We wouldn't have one steel plant open. And now we have a steel industry that's doing very well, but soon it's going to be thriving, really thriving. And those factories are going to be filled up, but more importantly, they're going to build brand new ones. Nucor and so many other companies call me, Nucor being a big steel company, they're building massive new steel plants. And it's
What about you
likewise
Mexicans,
car
huh?
companies.
The
We
Mexicans
have many,
all
many
look
car
the same
companies,
too.
Three of them. I'm not looking to hurt Mexico, and I like Mexico. And by the way, I think the
Same
new
with
president is a
same
terrific
with the
person, a
damn
fantastic woman. We've had
Australians.
many
They all look
conversations.
the
She's
fucking
a very
same.
elegant, just a fantastic person, and she's been very nice, very very nice. But I'm not looking to hurt them. But we have 3 car plants that were under construction in Mexico. They stopped constructing, and now they're going to build in the United States because of tariffs. See, we should have never let this happen because whoever it was that was president at the time, we lost 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA. 90,000.
90,000.
Unbelievable. How about that, Laura? You know, you're in sort of world of factories.
We're going
and
to build back to
plants.
manufacturing, construction jobs, and bring those workers back home.
Right, we're going to bring them all back. But think of it, from that period of time, which isn't so long ago, we lost. I said the other day, if you had a map on a big wall like this, and if you had pins, 90,000, I don't know if you'd have enough. I don't think you'd have enough room on the map to put the pins. 90,000 factories that we've lost since NAFTA. And it's not even, and about 6 million jobs. Really, I think probably a lot more than that, but they say 6 million jobs. We're going to bring many of that back. I think we're going to bring more than all of it back. We're going to be better and stronger than ever before. But if a president, when they were leaving, said, look, you can leave, but if you're going to build a factory someplace else, and you think you're going to come and sell your steel or your car or any product that you make, your pharmaceuticals, which we're going to do, we're going to get them all back. But if you think you're going to just, all they had to do is say this, and they wouldn't have left. You know, I said it the other day. I said it with respect to, I made a speech a year ago, and I told them if I win, we're going to charge a big, big tariff at the border. And people were thinking about building in Mexico a car plant. And I said, we're going to have a big tariff. So if you want to build a car, you're going to have to pay 25% more than the cost of that car. You're going to have to pay 25% tariff at the border. They would have never left. They could have kept everybody. If a president said, if you leave this country, you leave Michigan, you leave Detroit, you leave anybody, any of our states, because to me they're all the same. I love them all. I love them all. I probably won them all. They say I won most of them. I think I won them all, but that's okay. But
sorry, I'm making Team America right now the national anthem for now. America.
In another country and sell it any, you're not going to. You're going to pay 50% or 100% tariff. They would have never left. And all you had to say, Marco, all you had to say very simply is, you don't have to write it down. All you have to do is say it verbally. If you leave, you're going to pay 100% tariff. Therefore, don't leave. They would have never left. But they left 90,000 plants. I mean, it's hard to believe that many. You can't envision it. So just getting back to your, because I'm the great weaver of all time. The weaver is a genius, too.
Jesus.
Go on tangents. Anybody can do that, but we'll get back to
fucking Trump loves fucking yapping, dude. Fucking content president.
Babe Ruth is a big name. We have a lot of big names, but not too many. U.S. Steel is one of the great names in the history of our country. And normally I wouldn't mind so much. I wouldn't be thrilled with it. But to buy for a foreign country, and we love Japan, but for a foreign country to buy that cherished U.S. Steel brand, that's hard for me to do. And maybe somebody else may want it. The company Nippon that's involved with it is a big, powerful company who do a good job. But why
Japanese
do they
steel.
Plant themselves? I mean, why do they have to, take U.S. Steel? So as you know,
I even think they use
now they come back in a different form.
that
They're coming
steel
back
for
as an
swords too.
investor. And I feel better.
Whenever
about
they
that.
get the katana smiths
I know
crafting
thinking
swords.
it's the investor, they'll invest, and somebody else maybe is sitting in this chair, and they will no longer have an investment. They'll have the whole thing. That's the way it works. They're very smart. They're very, very smart people. We're dealing with very smart people throughout the world. Great geniuses, actually. Look what they've done to our country. And again, I don't blame China. I don't blame anybody.
Oh, China.
If I could have done it, if I were in that position, I'd have great respect. I have great respect for the people. They ripped off the United States, and all we had to do was have a president that knew what the hell was going on, and none of those countries would have left. Those companies, none of them would have left. So that's a little lesson in basic business, and it's really basic business. It's not complicated business. It's very basic business. And we'd have every one of those car plants going just the way they were 30 years ago. None of them would have left, but now they're coming back.
The Labor Department has confirmed that $400 million went to fake people for unemployment benefits. I just wanted your initial reaction to that.
I think it's terrible. I just heard it from Lori, and I appreciate it, and you heard it from Elon's people, right?
That's right.
Elon's done a fantastic job. Look, he's sitting here, and I don't care about anything other than I happen to like him, but I'm telling you, this guy did a fantastic job. I didn't need his car. I actually bought one. Because and they said, "Oh, did you get a bargain?" No, I said, "Give me the top price." I paid a lot of money for that car. But honestly, he makes a great car. You know what I do with it? I let the people in the office drive around in it. Margo, Natalie,
It's gonna be the company car
Chamberlain, they're all driving around the most
for
beautiful
everyone
car.
at the White House.
It's gorgeous. But I did
Everyone's
that
gonna be
just to show
busting it.
support. Numerous people have done that. Just a show of support. Because, you know,
It is
he's
your
done a fantastic
chauffeur.
job, but he hasn't been treated properly. Hasn't been treated properly. Yep.
Mr. President, can you talk to us about your communications with China? Has President Xi reached out at all since the tariffs
Well, I won't
escalated?
say who's reached out. I just say that I think it's going to work out, hopefully well. They're very big. It's hard to get over, if you're me, what they've done to our country. They've destroyed our economic base to a large extent. The good news is we're very vibrant, and we're going to get it back.
Very vibrant.
We're making $2 billion a day now, and during Biden, we were losing $3 billion a day. Biden was a disaster. He was the worst president in the history.
There he goes again with
to me,
Biden.
worse than that, because the money you can make if you have the right guy in this position. Worse than that was what they did on the border, by allowing the jails of the world, not South America, all over the world, to be opened up so that we take everybody from Africa, Asia, South America, Europe, the bad ones. They opened up their jails and they dumped them in the United States, and now this beautiful young woman who seems to be, boy, she loves what she does, though. I think she loves what she does because she's a patriot. She hates to see it. And Tom and all the people. But for us to spend, hundreds of billions of dollars this is just, I don't know. They either hated the country. Who would do this? Who would want millions of people to pour through an open border? We have no idea who the hell they are. And just walk right through. And half of them, whether you like it or not, you could look at them and you could say, they are not going to help us. These are some rough people. But they'd empty out their jails, and they'd empty out their mental institutions, insane asylums, and they'd let them into the United States of America. And inflation we can fix, and all of the other things we can fix. We'll get it going. But this is something, it's such a horrible thing, and it's really hard. We have to do deportations. Now we're doing self-deportation. We're coming up with all sorts of ideas. And they must have known it's not going to work out well. And, we want people to come into our country, by the way. We need them badly for the jobs. But we want them to come in legally. They have to come in legally. They have to show that they can love our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
There it is. You gotta love America. Okay, sorry. Alright, sorry. Now my hair is all messed up because I did that. The fucking head banging. Anyways, there it is. America! So yeah, he just went over basically an overview of everything. From the trade deals to, I'm pretty sure he did talk about the wars. Yeah, he also talked about, it was just an overview of what everybody's work. Identify more fraud, waste, and abuse. Talked about China, talked about the trade deals, talked about tariffs. Yeah. We will see how everything goes. We's will sees. 12:28 a.m. Okay.